that means I'm not able to hear everything. All the negative point just shoo, 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 shoo. Hello, my name is Amal and I'm an artist based in Singapore.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a Singapore Sign Language interpreter.
Now my hearing level is severe.
Okay.
Last time it was mild. The doctor said that as you grow older and you are not using the hearing aid device, your hearing will drop. But for me, I'm like, let God take the wheel.
So you jumped from mild to severe?
Yeah.
When did you find out you had mild hearing loss?
When I go for NS check-up,
Oh, serious?
then I saw the result. One thing that I miss hearing, like last time when I hear music, I can hear like so many different layers. But as now when I listen back to that song, it's different. Ten, 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 ten. Then got the part where now I cannot hear that.
Because it's too high pitched, is it?
It's just my hearing, I'm not able to hear high pitch now.
But you still can enjoy music, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're a dancer, so...
Yeah.
So, about 6 or 7 years ago, right, I started learning sign language from my poly, CCA. I started meeting deaf friends, then I became more fluent over time. And then later on, about 3 years, the Singapore Association for the Deaf asked me to join them as an interpreter. When I started learning sign language, I was starting to see a brand new community that I've never had much exposure when I was growing up. Then you realize that there's actually like this big community that haven't had a lot of like access to information in society, right?
What secret code is that when they sign?
Yeah, I mean, but now as time goes on, like I learned that that's rude, right? Because it's like eavesdropping. Like only recently during COVID in 2020 that the government decided that they will have sign language interpreting on all significant broadcasts. So I thought I could become an interpreter to contribute to that, to provide access.
Then when you learn sign language and you use that skill and meet deaf people and apply that skill, how does it feel? Because I know it can be a bit overwhelming.
When I first started learning sign language, it was like any other language, right? It's difficult, you have to practice, you have to mix with native speakers, right? Which is deaf people. It was very nerve-wracking. I remember the first time I went into a huge deaf event. It was, I think, a lot of deaf people and then other hearing people that could sign. And I was just there like brand new to sign language. I remember the deaf person would be signing something and then some people would start laughing and I'm just like, what's going on? Can you help me? What did you say? And it was embarrassing. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, training, practice, and interaction. Observing.
Because each deaf person they sign can be different depending on their education.
Yeah. I have to learn how to manage that relationship with the deaf community because as an interpreter, like, it's really important that I am an ally, right? I am not trying to steal the spotlight, right? It's always deaf people first, and we, as interpreters, always work to empower deaf people.
The most important is really about giving the information from one person to another, to a deaf person, the same information. That's what accessibility should all be about.
I think hospitals, the healthcare system doesn't have a proper protocol or what to do when there's a deaf person comes in and requires an interpreter. A lot of the times, the deaf person themselves have to pay to get an interpreter themselves, right? So it's definitely not like, there's no equality there, you know what I mean?
I always feel that I cannot understand why is accessibility so difficult when other countries are able to achieve that. They even have a law for that. And it's a very empowering system. It feels that me as a deaf person, I'm on par with all the able-bodied people, and that's what we want.
Exactly. I mean, all over the world, there's a lot of countries that recognize their local sign language.
Yep.
And there is legislation that makes it mandatory that public places make it accessible for any disabled person, right? And Singapore, we're not there yet, but hopefully that happens.
It's good not to hear everything. I can choose to listen or not. For example, when teacher is teaching, right, it's like, then I can just do my own thing, blah blah blah. And if I really want to focus on this, I like that I'm given the choice to on off.
I know stories about CODAs who, when their parents are deaf, right, and then the child is hearing, the parents are scolding them, and then they could just close their eyes, right, so they don't see the sign language. I mean, the other way around also, if a deaf kid using hearing aids or cochlear implant, the parents are scolding them or the teacher is scolding them, they can just...
That happens to me when the teacher was scolding me. I just look at the teacher, okay, but I don't know what she is speaking to me. So I just
In Singapore, right, the appropriate terms that's used to address the deaf people, deaf community, it's deaf, right, with the small d, deaf, D-E-A-F. It refers to the medical condition. So anyone who have hearing loss can be called deaf with a small d. The capital D, deaf, refers to the culture, the community, identity, and the pride of being deaf, right? So typically it's people who grew up using sign language, who is very proud to be deaf and, has deaf culture, right? And then there's also the other term, hard of hearing, right? Which is people who typically can speak either mild to severe hearing loss. What are some terms that we should not use?
Hearing impact.
Why?
Because anyway, good job for explaining. So hearing impact is used as a medical term for the doctors. That should not be applied to the society. Hearing impact, it sounds as if it's a negative term to say that, we are not able to hear, and it makes us less human. So when you said the word deaf or hard of hearing, there is a positive terms to that.
I've heard of this phrase, it's not hearing loss, but it's deaf gain, right?
Yeah, correct.
Right? So how do you feel about that? And how do you identify yourself?
I identify myself as a deaf person.
With a capital D?
Yeah. Even though I could actually say I'm hard of hearing, but because I think I contribute to the deaf community, I mix around with deaf people, and I feel that I'm able to integrate that. So with that, I decided I think it's time now that I identify myself as deaf. There are some people who will get angry when they go to the doctor and the doctor will write down hearing impact. To me, I think it's okay because
it's a medical term.
It's a medical term.
Right? Yeah.
And doctors are not well versed in the deaf community, the culture. So sometimes I have to explain to my deaf friends, hey, chill. Yeah, but because I understand that they have a pride in it, and it's their identity. So when someone don't call you by that term, they do get angry.
So that's what is meant by deaf gain, right? You get this amazing culture, community, pride, identity, and language, right?
Language.
I know we should not throw things.
If the person very far.
Okay, do you want to talk about how are the other ways of getting it?
You flicker the light, anything that is very visual, then yes, you can get the attention of the deaf person.
Or if the floor is wood, some people will just stomp their feet and then people can feel that.
That's what I do when I teach my deaf crew. So sometimes when we do warm-ups, then when we turn here, we cannot look at the mirror, right? I will use then they will feel the vibration. Then be like, yes.
Okay, right.
And another way, we could also touch. Of course, touch correctly.
Tap, just tap.
Yes.
Just tap.
Anything that is appropriate, then it's fine.
Sometimes I like startle deaf people. Like if I just come up behind, like then they're like, what the hell?
And also when we are speaking, like, we have to look at each other because some deaf will also depend on their lips reading.
It's really important. Like I cannot like talk like that and then suddenly just
Enunciate your words. Yeah.
yeah. And it's very important. Just speak normal pace. Don't over enunciate. Don't yell.
Back then when I was growing up, so many times I didn't know that there was this, there was that, until when I was more familiar with the technology, I'm able to Google. It makes things so much easier.
Give me an example.
Last time when we take bus, there was no direction. So when I ask people, they will reply back, I cannot hear. Then I just like, okay. But then
You don't know what's going
I
on.
still don't know the information.
Anything else?
Oppression, discrimination. These are things that I went through when I was working.
I think it all stems down to the lack of access to
Yes.
information, right?
Even my workspace wasn't deaf friendly. Because like sometimes when I'm editing videos and someone need to call me, they can't even have a basic courtesy to, they'll just shout my name. And I can actually hear the vibration on the desk.
There's a sound somewhere, but you don't know it's calling you, right?
From my experience working in the film industry, okay, they always have the mindset that time is money. So as a deaf person, right, it takes a lot of mental energy, physical
tiring.
energy to just to be 100%
Like
attention
alert,
focus.
right? Yeah.
Hearing people, they'll be like, okay, cut, next scene. Okay, do this. But to me, I'm not able to hear that
So
information.
you didn't even know they moved on to the next scene. Kind of
Correct.
thing.
So they see me as a lousy worker, but I'm not. I'm so damn good. Just that because of lack of accessibility, I'm not able to produce my best work.
I think that applies to people
Many.
with disabilities in general.
And during that period, I felt so lost. Like I knew I have a disability, but it's just that for some reason, I cannot accept myself. And I'm like always asking myself, what am I? Who am I? And when I'm with the hearing people, I don't feel very accepted. But now, when I'm with my deaf friends, I feel so embraced, you know? And also, I'm acting out as the bridge for the hearing and the deaf community. I would say I'm in the middle. I always believe that, like you, hearing person, and I'm a deaf person, we should work together because it takes two hands to clap. Come. I wanted to be a filmmaker. I knew I wanted to do this at all costs. I didn't feel my disability was a disadvantage.
You didn't even think about your disability at all.
I didn't think about it. I wasn't even aware about,
What you
if
should be
people talk to
concerned
me,
about,
how am I going to hear? How am I going to survive in this industry? I couldn't care about that. Once I got that job, I start to evolve and try to be more adapt to the situation. I realized the word adaptability is a very strong word to use it on myself. Every set different, sound system different. So as I go over the years, I learn to adapt faster and faster and faster. But for the deaf people, I can say is that we have to work twice harder.
because it's for communication and information, right?
Just to match that.
Yeah.
Like the society thinks that deaf people means cannot speak.
Okay.
But I'm speaking. Yeah. They have a misconception that, I am not a normal person. Like, what even? Which part of me needs to look like a certain thing to be deaf?
It's an invisible disability, right?
Correct. Invisible disability. How do you sign invisible again?
I just signed hidden disability.
And also, not all deaf people know how to sign. And
Like
it's
you?
also-
Like
for
how
me,
you learn?
How I learned signing, I learned at the age of 18, which is considered late because lip reading is not 100% accurate.
Yes.
Yeah, some words I might think differently. Like the word T, it might be seen or heard as P.
And
Colorful and I love you.
it looks exactly the
The
same.
lips are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lip reading is really tiring, mentally tiring, because you really have kind of like strain your eyes and really focus on the words.
When everything became online, do you think that it was better for deaf people?
For me, I would say meeting face to face is always the best.
Why?
It's like this, we're having a
You
conversation.
can read the body
I
language.
can read your body language,
everything.
your gesture, your expression. In Zoom, it's not so much, and you have this sort of a wall. Even with the captions, it's also very tiring to look at a person, read caption, look. So that's why I kept at a maximum of 1 hour. After that, butterfly, star, Milo,
Milo?
fire.
Do you say Milo?
Yeah.
I mean, I also know that there are some deaf people who actually like that it switched online because they had that option of turning on the captions. But, you know, it's not 100% accurate,
Yes.
right? Oh yeah, speaking of lip reading, masks.
Mask.
How did that affect you?
That is challenging. So, and to even go like this and listen is like, whoa, social distancing. Yeah, so how? I feel that hearing people should not look down just because we have basically no ears. It doesn't make us different.
I think that the important thing is just that deaf people use a different mode of communication, right?
Correct.
Or just simply a different language.
It doesn't make us disabled. It doesn't make us look less human.
I think what makes you disabled is that society isn't built for people who are deaf, right? Which then
Yeah.
comes the term autism again, right? So many things are built on your ability to hear. If you can't hear, a lot of things, you know, you're left out on.
And society also have a perspective of what is it like to be an able hearing person. So when they come upon a group of people who just, then they're like, oh, poor thing, look. Not all disabled person always very serious, always have a sad story to tell. Like, I think I'm very vibrant, I'm very
I think
engaging.
many deaf and disabled people are
They are, but people
Yeah.
just don't notice that. They always
they
have this,
focus on the disability, right?
they have a light to show that, oh, this poor thing, you must be suffering, my child.
It's very related to how the media portrays persons with disabilities. You will see a lot of this thing called inspiration porn.
Sometimes my intention is not to inspire people, it's just to share my experience.
Some people just see people with disabilities and like immediately they are just,
At
you
a
know,
disadvantage.
yeah, they're like, oh, you poor thing,
Yeah.
right?
Listen to us. And what I mean is that understand that we need a safe space to work, to stay, and how information is very, very important for us. I think it's really about acknowledging ourselves as whether we are hearing or deaf and telling like, okay, what is your need and how can I make this thing accessible for you?
Or whatever their preferred mode of communication. Is it writing, texting?
Yeah.
Is it getting an interpreter?
It is that, I mean, even taking a paper is doable. Even if the communication is slow, right, and draggy, right, let it be.
Important to be patient, right?
Patience. My perspective as a deaf person, I feel that everyone should have their own sense of freedom.
Of
And
course.
if they don't want to learn sign language, it's fine. But at least know the basic courtesy and knowledge how to at least communicate with deaf people.
Knowing about sign language is important because I think a lot of hearing people think that sign language is not a real language. It's just flailing arms that somehow
We
information
invented-
gets passed. Yeah.
We invented this, just to.
Yeah, you think it's the anyhow one, but it's actually a full-fledged, real, legitimate language with its own grammar and structure and semantic rules which is completely distinct from any spoken languages. And also, sign language is not universal, right? There are, in fact, over 300 unique sign languages in the world. In Singapore, the deaf community uses Singapore Sign Language, or SGSL. Oh, we synchronized on that. It's important that hearing people understand that if a deaf person's first language is sign language, often English is their second language. So that means that captioning itself is not enough, right? It's still important to get interpreter.
I can share that learning sign language has its advantage. When you are far apart, you are still able to communicate. Where for the same people, they'll be like, what? What? Speak louder.
The second thing is my favorite one. It's through glass walls or windows. It's my favorite thing. Like you are outside and then you're going off, right? I'm like, hey, can you help me order a drink?
Exactly.
Right. Or you downstairs and I'm like level 3. I'm, what are you doing? What time is your class? Right.
Yeah. Yes, the topic death will always be left unsaid. Right now, personally, I feel the deaf culture is dying because of how the system in Singapore is being enforced to us. School, there's no more deaf school. We want to have a world where we feel so white to belong, a world where we feel that it's safe to be in, no discomfort, no aggression or oppression, and we are able to have a sense of relief that, oh, now it's so much easier to communicate with other people. And as we can get more engaged, I think it could be a better place for us and for the rest of the society.
I think like deaf people and like deaf culture is not really like exposed to the bigger society. Because of that, the awareness about deafness and deaf community and sign language is very little. I know in the Nordic countries, they actually teach sign language to everyone from young. I can just imagine how a society like that would be more empathetic and understanding to being more inclusive to deaf and disabled people, right? But baby steps, right? Videos like this, to show a wider audience, what deafness means and learning more about sign language. I think it's progress. Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
So if you guys like what you're seeing and you want to know more, consider subscribing, like, comment, and also last but not least, remember to give it some love for this channel.